Home price in 2026. That is one of the most asked question in today market. And here's the thing, home prices are not moving the same across the country right now. Some cities, some states that are going still up, by the way, and some cities are actually going down. And here in Chandler, Arizona, is doing something it's very different from most people are not talking about. So, if you're thinking about selling or buying in Chandler, Arizona, this one market update is for you to keep. Let's dive right into the information of today market update. But first, let's look at the national perspective. I'm sorry about that. In front of you right here is the year-over-year change in home prices in the in the 50 largest metros across the country when you compare between February 2025 versus February 2026. Obviously, you see here, okay? So the largest increase in price is belong to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the largest drop in price is Austin, Texas, about -6%. Phoenix is somewhere right here, about dropping about 2% uh, in February 2026. Okay, so I use this chart because there's a lot of confusion about home prices among us. When you see the headline saying something like home prices dropping, or maybe the market is slowing down. But when we actually look at data, right, this chart show you home prices changes across the 50 largest metro areas. And right away, you notice something very important, right? The almost half, right, 20 to 25 cities, metros area are actually going up, and the rest is actually going down. So what does this tell us? Real estate is actually very hyper local. Okay, so you tell when you say something about price, you say something about the slowing down or faster, it has to be a specific area, specific city in your state, the state, right? So what happening in Chandler, it may not be the same even for what happening in Phoenix or what happening in Goodyear or what happening in Buckeye, not to mention any other cities across the countries. Okay, so and relying on national headlines alone can be very misleading. And I'm not saying here to, say about the national headline. They do have the point, okay? But what I'm saying is that as a personnel, as a resident of the state of Arizona, we should look at the Arizona more carefully before making any conclusion. With that, let's look at the pricing in Arizona, specifically in Maricopa County. This chart in front of you right here, okay, is the sale price of Maricopa County. Okay, each of line represent the home price, the sale price for 1 year. Okay, now let's get the trend from 2020 to today market. Okay, so the year that obviously COVID. During that time, surprise, right? We back then the median sale price at the highest is about 330 only, but because of the low interest rate, right, the home price continued to grow in 2021. And 2022 is actually higher than 2021 right here. This is 2022. The kind of yellow color is higher. But then at this time, it has difficult because higher interest rate in the middle of May of 2022, right? Interest rate jump from like 2 to 7 or sometimes 8% for some people, right? And for that reason, home price starting to drop since 2022. And going to 2023, this purple line right here is step around for $20,000. And then 2024 is about for $30,000. Five is about for $50,000. And now into for 2026 is right around 450. So obviously, as you see, okay, number one, see a massive price increase during COVID 2020. COVID-19, right? And that was one of the fastest growth period we have ever seen, by the way. Okay, but now are starting to level up. In fact, it's right around 440 for the last couple of years already, for the last 3 years already. And this is where people get nervous. Okay, they think well, the price is not as high as previous year. The people think that, like, obviously 2026 is below 2025, right? So people think that the price is dropping, but here's the reality. Okay, a slowdown growth is not a decline. Okay, this is what a healthy market should do. Okay, stabilize around number, stabilize what not number but a range, right? It's stabilizing around range around 440 to 460 right here. So it's very it's stable. That's what I meant to say. You want some more proof? Here it is. Okay, let's look at the chart in much more line. Okay, well, let's look at the chart from 2019 to all the way to now. Keep in mind, these are the portion that we look at in the previous chart. This is exactly the same chart, but it's just more line because we're adding more years to the chart, right? Because this is where the real story is. If you look at the price from to today, you will see that there is a significant higher. You will see that we are still at a significant higher than before COVID. Obviously, you see before COVID, like 2010 is 112, 11 is 120, right? 2012 is about that. Now, obviously, these are the line that before COVID right here at the bottom, as you see. Okay, so even things feel slower right now a little bit. Okay, the market has no signal to indicate any crash at all. Okay, so still here compared to the pre-COVID period, right? And most homeowners are still sitting on the I mean, if you're home before COVID, you're probably sitting on a very strong equity right now. Because obviously you see jumping from 120,000 to now about 440. So that's about 300,000 of equity already in your pocket if you bought the house in 2010 and now you still have the house, right? So if the house market crash, this number should go all the way down. No, but it's not. It's the new level of the home price. So obviously, home price demand in Arizona is still, at high demand. That's the reason why home price still up at the higher price. Okay. Some of you may wondering, okay, this is entire Arizona, the entire Maricopa County. What others say about the price in the next 5 years? So in front of you right here is the prediction all the export across the country. Okay, this data forecast in Q1 of 2026 for the future for the next 4 years. Okay, 2026 at the end of the year, they predicting an increase of 1.83% December to December. 2027 2.4, 2028 2.93, 2029 3.22, and 2023 3.42. So overall, okay, this is 2028 at all. If it is 2028, they're gonna predict a drop price instead of a continue growing like this. Okay, when forecast, okay, prices are expecting to grow in the next 4 to 5 years. Not at the crazy pace we saw during COVID, obviously. You see, this big jump right here, okay, is huge. Not at that, but at that very steady and sustainable rate, okay? So what we're seeing right now is not a crash. It's a transition from an overheated market to a normal market. Obviously, what I mean by that is, look at this. It's a big jump, it's a big gap moving from 2020 to 2021. If this big gap continue to grow, right, it continues to overheat the market and eventually it's gonna crash. But it's not happening. It's actually stabilized right now around 440, 450 already in Arizona market. So definitely not a crash in today. Okay. So what does that mean for the Chandler? So for you here in Chandler, if you are a buyer, you have more options, more homes available for you to buy from. Also, you have more negotiation power in today's markets because the seller has more competition at the time. Okay. Less you in the other hand, right? Compared to the period of 2020 to 2021, where hundreds and if not thousands of people buying at the same time. In the other hand, if you are the seller, pricing strategy matter the most, okay? Because buyers are very selective, and the home that are priced correctly, positioned well, are still selling very fast. If you are interested in receiving your city specific, I know I talk a lot about Chandler, because I think this is a great market to invest in Arizona, right? So if you want to, if you cannot live in Chandler, or if you're interested in other cities or even neighborhood zip code, feel free to scan this QR code and I will send you more information about the market in that specific cities. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.